this video is on the front of the segment addition notes. So I'm going to do two little videos, one for the front, one for the back. The first thing we see here is another vocabulary word, and you'll see throughout the year there's a lot of vocabulary here in geometry, but this one is between. So if point A is on segment BC, then we say A is between B and C. So here at the bottom you can see I have the segment drawn already, BC, and A is on it. So I can say A is between B and C. Now what this second part says, this is the segment addition part. If A is between B and C, so that means A is somewhere on that segment, then BA, which is that length from B to A, plus AC, which is that length, is equal to BC, which is the whole thing. So that means if I know that the distance from A to B, let's say, is 12, and the distance from A to C is 30, that means all I have to do is add them together. 12 plus 30 gives me 42. So from B to C would be 42. So all you have to do is add up the little pieces of a segment to get the length of the entire segment. So if I'm looking at this next one, here I have x, y, and z. So y is between x and z. It tells me that x, y is 21, y, z is 13. And then it asks me for what is xz. So xz is the whole thing. So to find that distance, I'm just going to add 21 plus 13 gives me 34. And there's no units on this, so I don't have to include units here. So for the next one, what is TM? Again, they're asking for the whole thing. So from T to M, or M to T, it's the same thing. So I want to find that. So this time I'm going to add up all three pieces. So 8 plus 12 plus 11 gives me 31. And again, there's no units listed here, so I don't need units. Now when they ask you for the length of a segment, you don't always add. It depends on the picture that you're given, or the diagram. So in this next one, okay, they're telling us a few pieces of information first. They don't put the lengths on the segment for us. We have to do that ourselves. So ED is 20. So from E to D, that's 20. And DF is 55. Now DF, D to F, so this whole thing, D to F, that's 55. And now they're asking us to find EF. They're asking us to find this piece. So if I know the whole thing is 55 and I know DE is 20, to find out what EF is, I have to subtract. So 55 minus 20 gives me 35. So that means this piece here is 35. Because if I take 20 plus 35, I should get 55, and you do. So sometimes you're going to have to subtract depending on what they give you. So for this one down here, first I'm going to fill in what they give me. So KL is 16, so K to L, that's this middle piece, that's 16. Then ML is 7, so M to L, that's 7. And also MJ is 29, so MJ is the whole thing. That's 29. And they're asking for JK. So to find that, again, we're going to subtract. The entire thing is 29, so I'm going to subtract 16 and then subtract 7. And on your calculator, you can do this in 2 steps, or you can enter that whole thing in your calculator. But if you wanted to take 29 minus 16 first, and then take whatever that answer is, minus 7, that's fine. Or you can just plug in 29 minus 16 minus 7, and you get 6. So this piece is 6, so that's 6 plus 16 plus 7 gives me 29. Now the last problem that we're going to look at on this video doesn't give us the diagrams. So if it doesn't give you a diagram, that means you should draw the diagram yourself. So for this first one, C lies on segment AB. So I'm going to start with segment AB. AB. And then point C lies on there. Now I can put it anywhere I want. Usually I put it right around the middle, but you can put it anywhere in between A and B. Now I'm going to fill in my lengths. So AC is 6, so that's here. BC is 8, B to C is 8. And then it's asking me for the whole thing. It's asking me for AB. So to find AB, I'm just going to add my two pieces together to see that AB is 14. Now down here, same thing. Point D lies between E and F on segment EF. So here I'll draw my segment, EF. And then D is somewhere in between here. And make sure you're drawing circles or dots here for your points. Don't just not have any dots there and letters floating about. Okay? So now DF is 2. So that's there. FE is 22. So that's the whole thing. FE is 22. And what's ED? So for this one, we would subtract. So my answer is 20. So that's the first part of segment addition. You just have to figure out if you're adding or subtracting. Even if you have 3 pieces or 4 pieces of a line, you would still add them all up to get the whole thing. So I'm going to do another video for the back, but if you have any questions about this one, you can watch it again, or you can ask me to clarify.